Stop good morning paragraphs. Start sending messages she feels all day. You know the routine. You wake up, see her name, and overthink the first text. You type, delete, retype. You drop a cheerful good morning and wait. Minutes stretch. She reacts with a thumbs up or nothing at all. By noon, you're wondering what you did wrong, and by night, you're debating a second message to clarify. The problem isn't your interest. It's that your mornings leak neediness and kill curiosity. Most men announce themselves. High-value men create a moment she carries into her day. Today, we're flipping your mornings. I'm going to give you 7 forbidden morning texts that women find irresistible because they work with female psychology, not against it. They are short, clean, and deliberate. Some spark curiosity, some anchor emotion, some revive memory, and one quietly turns you into the man she can't stop thinking about. No corny lines, no love bombing, no manipulation, just stoic intention and simple phrasing that raises your value instead of begging for attention. If you've ever wanted her to read your message twice, smile at her screen and start the conversation herself, you're in the right place. Keep watching because the first text rewires the game, and the last one is the only good morning you'll ever need. This will change how your mornings feel forever. Let's get into it. Number 1. The text that triggers curiosity. If you want to grab her attention first thing in the morning, stop trying to impress her, start making her wonder. Curiosity is the spark that keeps a woman thinking about you long after the text is sent. It's not about what you say, it's about what you don't say. The trick is to give her just enough to open a loop in her mind, one she can't help but close. Let's take Mike, 51, from Denver. He'd been seeing Rachel, 47, a graphic designer, for a few months. Every morning he sent the same message: good morning, beautiful, polite, consistent, and completely forgettable. Eventually her replies faded from full sentences to emojis, then silence. It wasn't that Rachel lost interest. It was that Mike became predictable. She knew exactly what he'd say before he said it. There was nothing left to feel. One morning, instead of another routine greeting, Mike tried something new. He texted, "You showed up in my dream last night. I'm still not sure if I should thank you or blame you." That one line changed everything. Rachel replied instantly, "Wait, what happened?" Curiosity took over. She couldn't help herself. That text didn't give her information, it gave her imagination something to play with. And that's what desire feeds on: imagination, not repetition. You see, curiosity pulls people in because it creates tension. Our brains hate unfinished stories. When you give a woman just enough to wonder, her mind starts filling in the blanks. Suddenly, you become the story she's completing. It's not about manipulation, it's psychology. The Stoics understood this kind of power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What you plant in someone's mind shapes their day. When your message makes her curious, you're not just sending words, you're setting a tone for how she thinks about you. Here's how you use it well. Keep it short, playful, and suggestive without crossing lines. Something like, "I can't tell if what I dreamed last night was about you or because of you. Something about this morning reminded me of you, but I'm not saying what. You'd laugh if you knew what made me think of you just now." Each one opens a door in her mind, but doesn't step through it. It's confident restraint, the Stoic balance between action and control. You're saying less but meaning more. Curiosity works best when it feels unforced. Don't follow up immediately. Don't explain unless she asks. That space, that pause, is what makes her lean in. Women don't crave constant messages. They crave emotion. When you create a small mystery, you awaken emotion without overwhelming her. Mike learned that quickly. After his new approach, Rachel didn't just reply. She initiated more. "So, are you ever going to tell me about that dream?" He smiled, waited, and texted back hours later. "Only if you promise not to judge." That slow rhythm turned a dull morning habit into something electric. So here's the takeaway. Curiosity is attraction's quiet twin. You don't have to shout to be remembered, you just have to make her wonder. Speak in suggestions, not statements. Leave space for her imagination to do the work. If you've ever seen how one mysterious text changed the tone of everything, drop a quick comment, I've seen this. Because next, we're going deeper into the kind of message that touches her heart before she even finishes reading it. Number 2. The message that touches her heart. Every woman has a soft spot that no compliment can reach. It's the part of her that wants to feel understood, not just admired. Most men try to touch a woman's heart with big gestures or endless praise. But the truth is, what touches her most is attention to what actually matters to her. It's not the "good morning beautiful" that moves her. It's the quiet recognition of her inner world, her effort, her dreams, her humanity. A message that touches her heart doesn't talk about looks. It reflects understanding. Instead of "you're amazing," it says, "I see what you're carrying, and I respect it." When you shift from admiration to empathy, her emotional walls start to lower. She begins to associate you with peace instead of pressure. Imagine this kind of morning text. "Good morning. I hope today gives you one solid reason to feel proud of yourself." It's not poetic, but it's powerful. It tells her that you see more than her appearance. You see her as a person living with goals, emotions, and challenges. That's rare. That's what makes it memorable. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." That wisdom applies directly here. Most men send texts that talk at women about how they feel, what they want, what they think. A Stoic man does the opposite, he observes. He listens between the lines. He notices her tone, her energy, her pace. And his words show that awareness without over-explaining it. A text that touches her heart feels grounded. It's short, sincere, and free of agenda. You're not trying to impress. You're trying to connect. And connection happens in stillness, not noise. Try lines like, "I hope your coffee's strong and your meetings go easy. You've got this, you always do. Something about this morning made me think of how steady you always are." Simple words, deep resonance. They show care without chasing empathy, without effort. They remind her that your attention has weight, that you notice her without needing to control her. In Stoicism, this is called sympathia, the awareness that all humans share a common nature. When you text from that place, your tone changes. You stop trying to make her feel something about you and start giving her space to feel something within herself. That shift is what makes your message land differently. Women remember how they feel when they read your words. If your text gives her calm instead of pressure, encouragement instead of expectation, you become part of her peace. And peace is addictive. So before you send your next morning message, slow down. Don't ask what will make her reply. Ask what will make her feel seen. Your tone should say, "I'm aware of your world, not just mine." That's how you rise above every man flooding her phone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Kindness is invincible." Not charm, not wit, kindness. The kind that expects nothing but gives everything through presence. That's how you touch a woman's heart. Not with words that flatter her surface, but with words that respect her soul. If you've ever sent something simple that made her pause before replying, drop a quick comment, "I felt that." Next, we'll explore the kind of question that doesn't just make her answer, it makes her imagine. Number 3. The question that sparks desire. There's one thing women can't resist, a question that makes them feel. Not the kind that demands an answer, but the kind that pulls them into a thought, an image, or a moment they didn't expect. Because desire doesn't start in the body, it starts in the mind. And when your words can make her imagine, you've already become part of that imagination. Most men use questions to keep conversations alive. How did you sleep? What are you doing today? But those questions don't touch her. They're mechanical, forgettable. They remind her she's talking to a man who's trying to stay relevant. The kind of question that sparks desire is different. It gives her something to feel about herself, not just something to reply to. Let's take Robert, 55, from Miami. He'd been dating Alyssa, 50, for a few months. Their connection was fine, polite, safe, and slowly fading. One morning, instead of the usual good morning text he sent, "If you could wake up anywhere today, where would you be?" Alyssa didn't just answer. She pictured it, the ocean, the sound of waves, the sun on her skin. Then she thought of who had made her imagine it. That's the power of a well-placed question. It invites her to step into a fantasy you created without ever mentioning yourself. When Robert later told her, "I was imagining that too," she smiled. That moment wasn't about flirting, it was about shared imagination. And imagination is where attraction is born. The Stoics might seem like the last people to teach desire, but their wisdom fits perfectly here. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you ask a woman a question that elevates her thoughts, you elevate how she experiences you. You become associated with inspiration, not pressure. These questions don't have to be poetic. They just have to shift her attention from routine to reflection. Try, what's something you want to feel today? If today had a soundtrack, what song would it be? What's one thing you wish you were doing instead of working? See the difference. Each question builds curiosity, emotion, and desire, all without you bragging or chasing. You're not forcing a reaction. You're creating space for one to happen naturally. Robert noticed a shift almost immediately. Alyssa began texting him first sometimes, with her own questions. "Guess where I wish I was right now," she'd write. That's when he realized he wasn't just part of her inbox anymore. He was part of her morning thoughts. This kind of question works because it makes her feel alive. It reminds her that she can dream, laugh, and play, and you're the man who brought that out of her. That emotional spark is far more intimate than any compliment. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The same goes for attraction. It's not what you ask, it's how it makes her react internally. When your words ignite her imagination, you awaken something deeper than conversation. You awaken connection. So stop asking predictable questions. Start asking the ones that make her pause, picture, and feel. When you can move her mind, her emotions will follow. If you've ever seen a single question change the entire tone of a conversation, drop a quick comment, "I've seen this." Next, we'll explore the line that makes her wonder and why a little mystery can stay with her all day. Number 4. The line that makes her wonder. There's a fine line between interest and obsession, and it's drawn by mystery. What makes a woman think about you long after the conversation ends isn't what you said, it's what you didn't. The line that makes her wonder doesn't explain, it suggests. It leaves her with a thought that circles back all day, quietly asking, "What did he mean by that?" Most men overshare because they crave reassurance. They explain too much, they clarify, they give away all the details just to avoid being misunderstood. But attraction lives in the unknown. The more you try to prove your intentions, the more predictable you become. The men who leave a trace of mystery, who master the art of restraint, are the ones who linger in her thoughts the longest. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." In this case, your enemy is noise, endless, desperate communication. When every man floods her phone with constant messages, your silence becomes power, your ambiguity becomes elegance, your self-control becomes intrigue. A line that makes her wonder doesn't sound rehearsed. It sounds spontaneous, natural, something that slips through in confidence. For example, "Something about you reminds me of a story I'm not ready to tell yet." You ever notice how some mornings just feel different? If I told you what I was thinking right now, you'd probably smile. These aren't pickup lines. They're psychological anchors. Each one opens a small loop in her mind. She'll keep thinking about it, trying to fill in the blanks. That's what mystery does. It activates imagination, and imagination is the foundation of desire. A Stoic man doesn't use mystery as a trick. He uses it as discipline. He knows the value of stillness, of holding something back. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly. That includes attraction. You don't reveal everything at once. You let things unfold naturally. You allow tension to breathe. You understand that silence has its own volume. When you use lines that make her wonder, you're not playing games. You're inviting curiosity. You're showing emotional control, the rare quality of a man who doesn't rush, doesn't need validation, and doesn't fear being misunderstood. That calm energy is magnetic. Here's the thing, mystery doesn't mean being distant. It means being intentional. It's about knowing when to stop typing, when to let the message end on an unfinished note. That pause, that little gap is where attraction grows. Seneca once said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." The same applies here. Don't drop mystery randomly. Use it with purpose. You're not confusing her, you're creating curiosity built on grounded confidence. If you master this balance, your words will echo longer than any compliment could. She'll think about your tone, your timing, the feeling behind your message. That's when you know you've done it right, when she keeps wondering without realizing why. And before we move on, if you want to go deeper into mastering Stoic attraction and communication, join the Stoic Brotherhood. It's a private space for men building discipline, confidence, and emotional mastery together. Exclusive lessons, real conversations, and tools that keep your mind sharp in relationships and life. Now let's move forward, because next we're talking about how to turn memories into magnetism and why nostalgia can be one of your strongest tools in connection. Number 5. The memory she can't forget. There's something powerful about the way memories work, especially in attraction. A woman doesn't miss you because of what you said last. She misses you because of what she felt the last time you made her feel alive. That's why one of the most powerful morning texts you can send isn't a new idea at all. It's a reminder, a spark from something the two of you already shared. Let's take Daniel, 54, from Chicago. He'd been dating Melissa, 48, for about 6 months. Things had started to cool off. She wasn't distant, but the energy wasn't the same. Every morning he kept it polite. "Good morning. How did you sleep?" hoping routine would keep things steady. But routine is the killer of connection. What once felt alive now just felt predictable. One morning Daniel tried something different. Instead of another polite text, he wrote, "Remember that night when we got caught in the rain after dinner? I still think that was my favorite walk." Melissa replied within minutes, "I still can't believe we didn't run for cover." Just like that, the energy shifted. She wasn't replying out of habit, she was reliving something. And when people relive emotion, they reconnect with the person attached to it. That's the key to a message that builds emotional gravity. It doesn't pull her toward a new topic, it takes her back to a feeling. Nostalgia is desire's quiet twin. When you remind her of a moment when she felt carefree, warm, or safe around you, she begins to feel it again right now. That's how memory works, it's emotional time travel. But there's an art to this. You can't force it, and you can't make every message about the past. You have to choose something small, specific, and emotionally charged. The more detail, the stronger the pull. Think of a sound, a scent, a moment that made you both laugh. Then mention it casually, like it just crossed your mind. Try something like, "I drove past that coffee shop we found by accident. Made me laugh. Woke up to the same song that was playing that night. You'd love it. I still can't believe you convinced me to try that dessert." Each line does the same thing. It reawakens emotion without expectation. You're not asking for her attention. You're handing her a key to a memory that already belongs to both of you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you help her remember a time, She felt light, happy, or connected. Her thoughts start to take on that color again, and you're the one who painted it. Daniel later told me that after a few of those memory texts, Melissa began initiating again. You know, she said one morning, "I miss that version of us." That line told him everything. She wasn't missing the moment itself. She was missing how she felt in it. That's what makes this approach so powerful. It's not manipulation, it's mindfulness. You're reminding her of something real, something that didn't just happen, it meant something. So the next time you want to reconnect, don't force new excitement. Bring her back to a time when everything felt easy. Because people don't crave novelty as much as they crave familiarity that once made them happy. If you've ever sent one message that instantly changed her tone drop, a comment, I've seen this. Up next, we'll talk about a different kind of connection, the compliment that hits deeper than beauty and shows her she's truly seen. Number 6. The compliment that hits different. Let's be honest, women hear compliments all the time. Most of them sound the same. You're beautiful, you look amazing, you're gorgeous. And yet those words rarely land the way men expect. Why? Because they don't make her feel anything new. They focus on what's visible, not what's valuable. A compliment that truly hits different is the one that tells her, you've noticed something others overlook. It's not about flattery, it's about attention. It says, I see you not, I want something from you. And that kind of awareness is rare, especially in a world where most people only look at the surface. The Stoics taught that perception is everything. Epictetus said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. A compliment rooted in that philosophy doesn't come from impulse, it comes from observation. You're not reacting to her beauty, you're responding to her essence. Here's the difference. A generic compliment centers on you. I love your smile. It's about your reaction. A meaningful compliment centers on her. You have a way of calming people around you. That's not something she hears every day. It tells her you've been paying attention to the subtleties, how she carries herself, how she treats others, how her energy shifts a room. That's what makes her pause before replying. When you text a compliment like that, you're doing 2 things at once. You're giving her validation that feels earned, and you're showing emotional intelligence. You're speaking to her depth, not her appearance. Try lines like, you've got a calm that makes mornings feel less chaotic. You're one of those people who makes things around you smoother. Something about your energy makes the day feel lighter. These aren't grand declarations. They're observations disguised as compliments. And that's exactly why they stand out. They reflect confidence and presence, the hallmarks of a Stoic mindset. You're not trying to manipulate. You're showing gratitude for the qualities that actually matter. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you train your mind to look for what's meaningful, you naturally start expressing it. A Stoic man doesn't compliment to gain attention. He compliments to give appreciation. He doesn't inflate her ego. He acknowledges her character. The real magic happens when your compliment becomes a mirror. You're helping her see the best in herself through your perspective. And when a woman associates you with that reflection, calm, depth, warmth, she begins to seek it again. That's how attraction grows subtly without effort. A compliment that hits different doesn't need emojis or exclamation marks. Its weight is in its quiet confidence. It's the kind of text she rereads once more before replying, wondering why it stayed with her. The Stoics believed that virtue was its own reward. So when you speak virtue into someone else, kindness, patience, grace, you embody it yourself. That's what makes you magnetic. You become the calm in a noisy world. So before your next message, pause. Don't tell her she looks amazing. Tell her something real, something she hasn't heard but has always wanted to. Because when your words show depth, she'll feel the difference instantly. If you've ever seen a compliment shift the whole energy of a conversation drop, a quick comment, I've seen this. And next we'll explore a different kind of energy, the kind that makes her smile before her first sip of coffee. Number 7. the text that makes her laugh. If curiosity gets her attention and depth keeps it, then humor makes her feel you. Laughter is emotional glue. It lowers defenses faster than charm ever could. But here's the thing, most men try too hard to be funny, and that's exactly why they fail. A woman doesn't laugh because you delivered a perfect joke. She laughs because your energy feels light, natural, and unbothered. Humor isn't performance, it's presence. Let's look at Ethan, 52, from Austin. Divorced, financially stable, a good man, but he took dating far too seriously. Every morning his texts read like job interviews. Hope your day is productive. Don't forget your 10 a.m. meeting. Functional, thoughtful, boring. Then one morning he tried something different. He texted, "Good morning. I'm 80% sure I just brewed the world's worst cup of coffee. I want to take that title from me." She laughed. She replied, and for the first time in weeks their exchange felt alive again. Ethan didn't become a comedian, he just dropped his seriousness for one sentence. That single shift changed how she felt about him. Because laughter isn't about words, it's about energy. A man who can make a woman laugh lightly in the morning communicates something powerful. I'm centered enough to play. That playfulness signals emotional security, a Stoic kind of ease. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." A man who controls his inner world can stay relaxed no matter what's happening around him. That's why humor hits so deep. It shows freedom. Humor is not about being loud or clever. It's about timing and contrast. She's expecting something safe, polite, predictable. Then you drop a small spark of wit that breaks the pattern. Something like, "I had a motivational quote ready for you, but my coffee hasn't kicked in yet." Morning. If I survive today's meeting, I'll consider it a win. You ever wake up and think, "I deserve a trophy just for showing up"? Yeah, same. These lines aren't trying to impress, they're disarming. They remind her that life doesn't always need to be so serious. That small laugh over text can shift her entire mood, and she'll subconsciously connect that feeling to you. When Ethan kept this tone going, light, grounded, playful, he noticed something interesting. She began initiating more. Her texts got longer, warmer. One day she said, "You make mornings easier." That's the highest compliment a man can get. Because what she really meant was, "You make me feel good without even trying." The Stoics never preached emotionlessness, they preached balance. Seneca wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." Humor is part of that courage. It's choosing levity when the world feels heavy. It's giving someone a moment of joy without needing attention in return. That's powerful. So when you send that morning text, don't force it, don't overthink it, just be human. Let your humor come from awareness, not effort. Notice the little absurdities of life, the burnt toast, the traffic, the 12 unread emails, and laugh at them first. When you can laugh at life, she'll want to laugh with you. Ethan learned that being funny wasn't about wit. It was about lightness. The same quality that made him a calmer man also made him more attractive. Because when a woman feels safe enough to laugh with you, she starts to open up to everything else. If you've ever seen a laugh change the entire tone of a conversation, drop a comment, "I've seen this." Next, we'll move into something deeper, how to use morning motivation the right way, so your words stay with her long after she's out the door. Number 8. The morning motivation she feels. There's a kind of text that doesn't just make her smile, it gives her energy. It's not a pep talk or a quote stolen from a motivational page. It's something simple, grounded and human, a few words that meet her where she is and lift her just enough to start her day with strength. That's what I call felt motivation. Not flashy, not loud, but quietly powerful. Here's the truth. Women don't need men to fix their moods or solve their stress, but they notice the man who can steady their energy. the one who makes the day feel lighter before it even starts. That's what a morning motivation text can do, not by inspiring her from above, but by standing beside her in tone, presence, and calm. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's not a command. It's a mindset. Real motivation isn't about telling someone to be positive. It's about reminding them of perspective, that life is still happening and they have the power to shape it. A well-written morning motivation text does exactly that. It shifts her focus from pressure to purpose. It doesn't say, "Go crush the day." It says, "You've got what it takes to handle whatever comes." Subtle difference, but one she feels deeply. You could say something like, "You don't have to win the day. Just move through it steady and strong. The day's already better just because you're showing up. I hope today gives you a small victory, the kind you don't have to announce." Notice how each line has stillness in it. It's not adrenaline, it's alignment. It doesn't push, it centers. Women pick up on that instantly. The masculine energy that gives peace instead of pressure is the one they trust. A Stoic man doesn't motivate through words alone, he motivates through tone. When you write like you're in control of your own emotions, that calm becomes contagious. That's what makes your words different from everyone else sending her. "You got this" messages at 7 a.m. You're not shouting encouragement, you're embodying it. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The right text carries that spirit. It reminds her gently that she has control over her mindset, even when she doesn't have control over her schedule, her boss, or her day. What makes this kind of message attractive is that it's not self-serving. You're not saying it to impress her. You're saying it because that's how you live. It reflects your discipline, your calm, your worldview. She feels it not because you're trying to inspire her, but because you already embody the thing she's trying to find, that morning peace in motion. That's the quiet brilliance of Stoic attraction. Your words become mirrors of your mindset. When your energy is grounded, hers follows. That's why this type of text matters more than any compliment. It adds value to her day, not noise. So next time you send a good morning text, make it less about excitement and more about stability. The kind of message that slows her heartbeat, clears her mind, and reminds her she's stronger than she thinks. Because when a man can calm a woman's morning, she'll crave his presence for the rest of the day. If you've ever sent a simple text that made her pause, smile, and breathe easier, drop a comment, "I've felt this." And up next, we'll explore something deeper: how to be thoughtful in a way that stands out, even in a world full of constant attention. Number 9. The thoughtful message that stands out. Thoughtfulness is the rarest kind of attraction. It doesn't scream, it doesn't chase. It whispers in the right moment and makes someone stop for a second, smile, and think, "He actually pays attention." That's what separates a high-value man from everyone else. Awareness. The ability to see, feel, and remember what most people overlook. Let's talk about David, 53, from Seattle. He had been casually seeing Laura, 48, for a few months. She liked him, but their conversations were surface-level: dinners, movies, small talk. Nothing bad, just average. Then one morning, instead of a good morning text, David sent, "I remembered you said, Wednesdays are your toughest day. I hope this one feels a little lighter." That one message changed everything. It wasn't long, poetic, or dramatic, but it was personal. It showed that he had actually listened. Laura texted back, "You remembered that," followed by a smiling emoji. It wasn't the emoji that mattered, it was the tone shift. Suddenly, David wasn't just another guy she was seeing. He became someone she felt safe around. The secret of a thoughtful message lies in emotional precision. It's about noticing the small things that matter to her, not to you. When you remember what she says in passing her favorite coffee, the day she dreads the project she's been nervous about, and then you acknowledge it at the right moment, that's not just attention, that's emotional intelligence. The Stoics understood this principle in their own way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When your thoughts are centered on awareness and understanding, your words naturally carry warmth and steadiness. You're not trying to get a reaction, you're expressing grounded presence. Thoughtfulness doesn't require grand gestures. It's built through quiet consistency, remembering, following up, and saying the right thing at the right time. You could text something as simple as "Hope your presentation goes the way you wanted." "You mentioned your mom wasn't feeling great. How's she doing today? That song you told me about came on this morning. Made me think of you." Each one tells her, "I notice you," without needing to be noticed back. That energy is magnetic, especially for women who are used to shallow attention. David kept that same approach. A few days later, Laura texted first for the first time. She wrote, "You always seem to know when to say the right thing." That's the effect of thoughtful communication. It feels like timing, but it's actually awareness. Here's the truth: people crave recognition more than affection. They want to feel seen. A Stoic man doesn't rush to impress. He slows down to observe. He listens without waiting for his turn to speak. That's why his words land differently. They come from understanding, not performance. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Every thoughtful text is a chance to practice that, to be a source of calm and care in someone's day. When you do that consistently, you stop blending in. You stand out not because you're louder, but because your silence carries meaning. Laura later told David, "You make things feel easy." What she really meant was, "You make me feel understood." And that's the highest compliment a man can earn. So remember, a thoughtful message doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be present. The kind that reminds her she matters without you ever having to say it directly. If you've ever seen how one small mindful text changed the way someone looked at you, drop a comment, "I've seen this." And finally, in the next part, we'll explore the Stoic way to say good morning, calm, grounded, and impossible to ignore. Number 10. The Stoic way to say good morning. At this point, you've seen how the right words can make her curious, move her heart, or even change her mood. But the truth is, the most powerful good morning isn't a phrase at all. It's the energy behind it. It's how you say it, why you say it, and what you don't need it to do for you. That's the Stoic way. Most men text good morning to get a response, a heart emoji, a "you too," a sign that she's still interested. But when your intention comes from need, your message loses strength. A Stoic man doesn't reach out for validation. He reaches out because it aligns with his nature, calm, deliberate, and kind. His good morning is not a plea, it's a reflection of peace. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of the privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's the mindset behind the Stoic good morning. It's not about chasing connection, it's about appreciating life and letting that appreciation flow outward. When you start your day with presence, your energy naturally attracts instead of demands. So what does a Stoic good morning actually sound like? It's subtle, clean, free of performance. You could say, "Morning. Hope today gives you one good reason to smile." Good morning. Make it a calm one. Morning. Let's both handle the day like grown-ups, slow, steady, and with good coffee. Each one does the same thing. It acknowledges life without expectation. It's not there to impress. It's not trying to be clever. It carries a quiet warmth, the kind that comes from self-possession. A Stoic man understands that his tone matters more than his timing. If he's centered, his words carry weight even in simplicity. If he's restless, no amount of charm can hide it. The goal isn't to send a message that works, it's to send one that reflects who you are. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." Freedom in this context means emotional freedom, the ability to express care without fear of silence in return. You don't need her reply to validate your worth. You already know who you are before you text. That's what makes your presence attractive. When a woman feels that calm confidence behind your words, she doesn't just read your text, she feels your steadiness through it. You become the man whose good morning doesn't ask for attention, but brings peace. That's the Stoic way. Speak with intention, not impulse. Lead with calm, not craving. Let your words reflect your control, not your need. Because when your mind is quiet, even the simplest good morning becomes unforgettable. Every message we've talked about today has one purpose: to shift how you connect. It's not about chasing attention or crafting perfect lines. It's about presence, awareness, and control. When you lead with calm, confidence, and intention, even the smallest text can make her feel something real. That's what Stoic communication is: quiet strength in action. If you're ready to master that mindset and apply it in your relationships and your life, join the Stoic Brotherhood, a private community for men who want to live with discipline, clarity, and purpose. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new lesson. Thanks for watching. Stay grounded, stay sharp, and I'll see you tomorrow.